Hello guys, and welcome back to this new video. Today we are going to talk about the strangest, the craziest museums in the world. And exactly for you, we have made this list, which is a list of the top 10. Some of them were born by chance, and some of them were created by extravagant collectors' obsessions. Let's then start from number 1. Number 1, that is Penis Museum. The guy, Sigurd Hjartarson, a retired history professor, we are in Iceland, collected phalluses of terrestrial and marine mammals as early as the 1970s. And so in 2006, he saw the possibility to open the Penis Museum in Húsavík, in the north of Iceland. Today, the museum counts 276 samples of phalluses belonging to about 90 different species existing in Iceland, and more specifically we have 55 of these belonging to 16 different species of whales. Now, I could kind of see the point of doing that, but at the same time I don't think I can see fully the point of seeing that. But regardless of that, I think it's interesting, I think it's fascinating, but I'd like to know how exactly he did all of that, how he managed to do this. But anyway, that's for sure something is gonna go down in history for. Just amazing. Alright, museum number 2, Ugly Art Museum. Now this should not surprise us, especially for those of us who are familiar with the ideas of Tartakiewicz 1985, and if you guys have ever encountered him, studied aesthetics, that's very important. Like, he would say that we can classify the different periods in history according to their aesthetics, and that this one would be the one where aesthetics of ugly is predominant. And there is never end to the worst, right? And indeed, there are works that are so bad that it's impossible to ignore them. And this museum houses about 1,500 works in 3 different locations. One is Dedham in Massachusetts, and the other ones are Somerville and Brooklyn. And why not visiting it? Museum number 3, Toilet Museum. We are in New Delhi in India. There is the Toilet Museum dedicated to the glories of this small but very important room of the house. The collection was born for a very serious purpose. The creator, sociologist Bindeshwar Pathak, is responsible for a campaign for hygiene and health education in India. And on the homepage of the website, of the museum's website, he wrote, "Toilets are part of the history of human hygiene and represent an important part of man's path towards civilization, and none of us can blame him." Museum number 4, this one is called Toilet Board Museum. The artist is Bernie Smith, and his garage, transformed into Bernie Smith's Toilet Seat Art Museum, there are about 700 different toilet seats, specifically lids, that were transformed over the course of more than 30 years. So 30 years ago, this man, who's now in his 90s, was a plumber. And he is like a Texan plumber. And over 30 years ago, I started painting and processing toilet leads with everything from keyboards to old PCs to tools of a dentist, and made the toilet seats, transformed them into pieces of artwork. Museum number 5. This is the UFO Museum, the International UFO Museum and Research Center in Roswell, New Mexico. It was born after the alleged UFO crash, which took place on July 8th, 1947, and in a small town of the United States. That day, a United States Air Force balloon crashed. According to ufologists, it would have been an exceptional crash of a UFO, resulting in a very secret recovery of extraterrestrial materials, including corpses of aliens recovered by the military. Today, the museum collects artifacts, testimonies, and photographs of the main alleged UFO cases in history. Museum number 6. This is the Museum of Useless Things. It is known with the name of Nonseum, and it is in Austria. Was created in 1983 by Fritz Goll, who is a field inventor indeed. But his idea of collecting useless objects and wrong inventions, such as rolling pin with 4 or a spoon with a magnifying glass, attracts thousands of curious visitors every single day. For those of you guys out there who is more interested in more sort of historical museums, our museum number 7 is Torture Museum. There are also several torture museums in Italy, but the Torture Museum in Amsterdam is the largest and the most famous. Here, you really get an idea of how cruel humankind has been to its fellow man, as one could observe the most disturbing and terrifying devices that were used in the Middle Ages to torture criminals and enemies. It is basically a ride in horror, and we said it is in Amsterdam. But also in Amsterdam, there's our museum number 8. This is Sex Museum. The one par excellence is found, needless to say it, in Amsterdam, which is a European city, very well known for its nightlife. This museum is the oldest temple of Venus in the world. It was inaugurated in 1985 with a collection of erotic objects dating back to the 19th century. Today, statues, paintings, objects, and photographs are on display, but also modern erotic art tools and garments are on display in this building that dates back to the 17th century, and that is on Dumrock Street. Museum number 9, LGBTQ Art Museum. That is at 26 Wooster Street in Soho. So we are in New York, and this museum is known as the Leslie Harmon Museum of Gay and Lesbian Arts, and more popular is known with the term of MOGLA. It is the first museum in the world dedicated to LGBTQ art. It houses a permanent collection of over 6,000 works, paintings, drawings, photographs, sculptures, prints, etc., etc. Finally, we are on to our last museum, that is museum number 10. So let's go ahead and start this. Hair Museum. It entered the Guinness World Records because in this museum there are over 16 tufts, strands of hair on display. It can be found in Avenus, Cappadocia, and it was created by Galip Koruksu, probably, or something like that, who used to be owner of a pottery shop. In 1979, Galip received a lock of hair as a gift from a dear friend. Since then, he has begun to collect many others, to collect them and hang them on the walls of the cellar of his laboratory. Each lock is registered, name of the owner and day of donation. Now, guys, with that being said, we want to know who out of you actually went and visit this museum. So please let me know. Also, let me know what you think and which one you would like to visit. So don't forget to comment below, let us know what you think. Of course, like the video if you have enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to. That would be of great help to me. And then also hit the notification bell to receive every new update. So we'll talk some more next time. Bye guys!